This is the BetaFPV Aquilla20 digital HD kit. It features a pretty compelling all-in-one kit that lets you fly your drone and get into FPV flying pretty quickly without any of the complexity of building your own quad, especially for a fully manual mode. It does compete with a number of other entry-level kits on the market, such as those from Hingsy as well as Caddx FPV and their Protos drone. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about my experience with this, the pros and the cons, what I liked and what I didn't like, and whether or not you should buy this compared to some of the other kits that we've looked at on the channel and that are available on the market. Also, I'm going to go through and fly this. I made a little website called Drone Map that shows you all the ground rules as well as good spots to fly your drone, so you can kind of help navigate some of the complexity, especially in the United States, on where you can actually fly. So I'm going to check that and find some cool spots to fly this drone. Overall, the drone itself actually produces a pretty solid frame, has a number of creature comforts like automatically hovering, optical flow, and a number of things that make your life a little bit easier if you're just starting out, but also allows for a fully manual mode. The RC battery charging system and headset has a number of pluses, namely that the headset itself does have the ability to have the battery on the back rather than a separate system, so it does produce a compelling all-in-one system to just easily take on and off. First up, I want to talk about the durability. This drone is a single plastic frame. It is rather light, and I did end up running the battery out a couple times, which we'll talk about in a second. But overall, it does take a little bit of a beating. Yes, it's a little scratched up on the bottom, but overall, the frame, I want to say, is light enough and capable enough that this is something I feel comfortable doing some FPV stuff with. Obviously, if you're taking this to max height and dropping it, you're going to encounter issues, but I personally prefer, especially with FPV manual flight, to fly in the woods around trees, and this really can take a beating in that situation. You're not so much worried about it falling, but you are maybe hitting a tree or something, and this can definitely take that, at least from what I was testing today. The transmission quality is surprisingly good. I'm really impressed by just such a small little quad is able to get decent transmission quality. Now, obviously, this is not a DJI system. However, it's funny that even compared to, example, the Anti-Gravity A1, which was a $2,000 drone, the transmission quality on this is much more reliable and smooth, and this is substantially cheaper. Now, obviously, that's got a headset and that's got 360-degree view, but for FPV, this is just such a much nicer experience. For the battery life, I noticed that I was getting about 7-ish minutes on each of these batteries. The batteries themselves pop in and out pretty simply. They have a nice little bit release mechanism, and you just click them in and then they lock in place pretty well. You can charge one battery individually, or you can charge multiple with the multi-charger. I think my only true complaint with this drone is that this charger just really did not work as expected. And what I mean by that is, when I got this, I figured, wrongly so, that you just would be able to plug the batteries in and they would charge. But you individually have to turn on each battery, hold it while it's plugged in, and then it will turn on, and then you'll get lights at the top. That's great. Emailed them. I probably should have just read the instructions. That's fine. However, then once I did that, I had a weird issue where the batteries, even though it was green and they were on, it looked like they were charging. One stopped charging, it no longer charged anymore. Then the other one, when I went to go put it in my drone, was completely empty. So it seemed like, maybe for me, I don't understand what the charging process is, because it's supposed to, on paper, charge all of them at once. And even when I've gone through the directions and individually charged each of them and turned them on while it's plugged in and they're flashing, I still end up, when I go out there and it's no longer lit up and I take the batteries with me, some of them are depleted, some of them are not getting charged, and I don't quite understand why. The controller, I want to say, is adequate. It's not a super nice controller, it's not super fancy, but it does get the job done. It has a nice connections point for a lanyard, and also the buttons and stuff are decent. Obviously, this is a cheaper system. Obviously, it's going to be a little bit more flimsy and plasticky, but at the same time, I thought that overall it was adequate for the system, especially for the price. And that's something we got to keep in mind too. I really do like this headset setup. I know this is very similar to what DJI does when some of their Integra headsets, but having the battery pack on the back actually, I feel like, helps balance out some of the weight here. Also, when you first get this drone, the drone itself will not be paired, or at least mine wasn't. So it did take a little bit of reading the instructions to figure out how to properly pair it. But once I got that all working, it was great to use. The built-in modes are great, specifically hover and a sport mode, and then the full manual mode. It does hover pretty nicely, but at the same time as well, I really do prefer the manual, and I do feel like this is a pretty quick drone for the size, and it allows you to get around corners, and it's pretty maneuverable. You also have, by default, all the settings configured on the RC, so you don't have to mess around in Betaflight, and you can go through and adjust the speed of the drone as well as the mode of the drone, and in that way you can basically set up how you want. Overall, I also found that the range was pretty solid. It did kind of cut out or get a little bit laggy when it was slightly outside of frame, but overall I thought, especially for a digital FPV system that's not DJI, and for the price, it is pretty good if you stay in pretty clear line of sight. And if you go behind a tree or something, then it might be a little bit more difficult, and especially buildings, it might get a little bit of laggy. So next up, let's talk about the video. One of the things I noticed right off the bat is once you record video, you're recording it exclusively through the goggles. Now, in practicality, this means that you are restricted by the bitrate and the stream incoming, which is actually a little bit lower quality than the Caddx Protos drone. When you load the video into a computer and you look at it, you notice pretty quickly that the quality is pretty bad due to the bitrate. Now, I did want to try to change the bitrate, and so I then tweaked that and went ahead and then tried to fly it, but I encountered another issue that I'll talk about very shortly. Also, when I tried to load the video into Premiere Pro, I did get this really weird artifacting that I haven't quite encountered anywhere else. I don't know if this is just purely cosmetic from the H.265 codec, but I do believe it just looks very weird. So if you're encountering that from the finalized clips, that is also something to keep in mind as well, is that if you are editing this, the clips especially, it may be difficult to import into Premiere. It's at least difficult to edit them with that. The next thing I'm going to talk about is the drone itself. When I was flying the drone, and I was being moderately rough, as in I was not super safe, but then again it is a single frame, I was flying maybe 5-10 feet off the ground, nothing absurd, but I also was, it was tumbling a little bit. It was maybe hitting some like twigs and then, getting caught upside down. The usual, but nothing like major falls. Like there was nothing that should be causing serious damage. So I pretty much just went ahead and flew it how I would fly an FPV drone, which is, you hit some twigs, you crash it every once in a while, the usual 9 yards. However, when I went through and I did that, it seems that process has unworked some of the screws from one of the motors, and then the motor just kind of came off, and then that really wasn't so bad. You could always put more screws in, but then it also then wound itself up tight and then also cut into the wires themselves. And so I asked, and there is no thread lock on these screws, which to me, as someone that did an undergrad and then a master's in computer engineering, as well as, with some concentrations in drones, that just seems absurd with me, because the amount of vibration that these little devices encounter, especially when in flight, is absurd. That's why we put dampers even before we get to gimbals on the cameras. To me, at least, it just seems like a poor decision, because some of the other screws are also a little bit loose, and it's really weird to me that this is what kind of happened, especially on, I believe, like my 3rd or 4th flight. So this isn't like something I encountered after flying it for a while. This is like my 3rd or 4th flight. And obviously the drone itself is not damaged at all. I mean, it fell for maybe like 3 or 4 feet. It falls pretty gracefully, and it's also got a pretty robust frame. So like nothing on here really is damaged in any way except the motor. And because the wires are messed up, it would require you to disassemble the whole drone to resolder on some new motors. That's just also something to keep in mind, is I thought that was a very severe lack of foresight, that they just did not think to put thread locker on the motors, and it came off in pretty much what I would consider safer wear than normal. So should you buy this? Well, I think it's become an interesting predicament, because the Caddx FPV drone was smaller, lighter, had better video quality. The video quality was usable, versus this has some issues. And I think the frustrating thing is having a screwdriver and checking every motor to make sure it's tight before you fly is realistically the only option I really see at this point. And I do struggle to recommend this drone with that situation, because it is a little difficult to say, hey, you should get this drone, and also you're going to have to spend a lot more time and work with it. And then on top of the weird battery issues, the issues charging it, it just to me feels like this was maybe a first attempt and they didn't have anybody actually test the drone. Because I think, especially with like thread locker on these motors, this is a plastic that these motors are embedded into, and depending on the heat, especially with the motors, plus also you have just normal everyday like heat and expansion, it really surprises me that this was not considered at all. Rather, they just thought that the motors would stay in fine. That's actually like what we learned, at least when I was in college, is that in my drone classes, you always put thread locker on any screw because it will vibrate out. To me, it's a great overall product. It seems like a lot of thought went into what works really well. But because the plastic, or maybe just some of the design choices, I find it very weird that I encountered this as a reviewer right away very quickly. And so I can only assume that potentially other people have as well. And it would be okay if this was not as detrimental as completely cutting up into the wires, and also tearing them up and flipping and winding the motor up really tight up against the body of the drone. So it is something that's a little frustrating there as well.